The secret of the Jung-Ki of Mani Mountain in Ganghwa-do. The Korean Peninsula is a place where the DAUM tribe, which is a group of spirit souls with the energy of the Creator most abundantly, is living on the largest scale in the world. The Korean Peninsula used to be the center of material civilization in the age of Seoncheon and shall be the center of spiritual civilization in the age of Hucheon. The Korean Peninsula is the land where everything returns to its origin it has come from when the end times come. The Korean Peninsula is the place where the first civilization of the planet Earth began and where the present civilization of the planet Earth shall be terminated. The Korean Peninsula is a sacred land from which a new spiritual civilization shall begin on earth, and also a holy land where the covenant of the Creator made at the dawn of the universe shall be executed. The Korean Peninsula is where the stargates for the supply of the energy of the heaven are installed most heavily. The Korean Peninsula is the hub of stargates that deliver the energy supplied from the heaven to all the areas of the planet Earth. The heaven has been continuously supplying its energy to the people living on the Korean Peninsula to remind them of their identity as the descendants of the heaven. The heaven has been supplying the DAUM tribe living on the Korean Peninsula with the Jung-Ki of the heaven, composed of Cheon-Ki, Ji-Ki, and In-Ki, to let them have pride and self-esteem in themselves. The heaven has been continuously supplying the Jung-Ki of the heaven to prevent the Korean people living on the Korean Peninsula from forgetting their identity. The levels of spiritual and material civilizations of a nation are determined by the nature of Cheon-Ki supplied from the heaven. The cultural and regional characteristics of a nation are determined by the nature of Ji-Ki supplied from the heaven. On the other hand, the nature of In-Ki supplied from the heaven determines the personalities of a people or the character of a nation. The main system of the heaven that supplies Cheon-Ki, Ji-Ki, and In-Ki to the Korean Peninsula is located in the interdimensional space in the sky above Gyeongbokgung Palace in Seoul, South Korea. To be specific, the heavenly system that has supplied the Jung-Ki of the heaven to the Korean Peninsula is operated in a vertically organized structure in which related systems are organized into the upper, middle, and lower layers, and the system installed above Gyeongbokgung Palace in Seoul works as the center of the entire system by existing on the middle layer. On the upper layer of the supply chain for the heavenly Jung-Ki on the Korean Peninsula, 4 energy centers are installed in 4 areas, each of which is in the north, south, east, and west of the main system existing in the sky above Gyeongbokgung Palace. The energy centers existing on the upper layer are as follows. The northern energy center is located on Baekdu Mountain that has supplied the heavenly Jung-Ki to the Korean peninsula. The southern energy center exists on Halla Mountain that has supplied the heavenly Jung-Ki to the Korean peninsula. In the east, the heavenly Jung-Ki has been supplied to the Korean peninsula from the energy center over the East Sea. In the west, the heavenly Jung-Ki has been supplied to the Korean peninsula from the energy center over the West Sea. Cheongi, Ji-Ki, and In-Ki supplied from the four regions in the north, south, east, and west of the Korean peninsula have maintained the identity of the Korean people for many years. The energies of the heaven, which have come from the regions of the four cardinal directions of the Korean peninsula, have been supplied to the entire Korean peninsula and have dynamically acted on this land. The overall system for supplying the heavenly Jung-Ki to the Korean peninsula has been changed little by little over time. The main center for the supply of the heavenly Jung-Ki that had played a pivotal role in blooming the spiritual civilization in the Korean ancient times, corresponding to the prehistoric era, was located above Mani Mountain in Ganghwa-do. In other words, the energy center installed above Mani Mountain in Ganghwa-do was one of the energy centers supplying the heavenly Jung-Ki to the Korean peninsula for a long time during the Korean ancient times, in which three types of spiritual leaders titled Hwan-in, Hwan-ung, and Tan-gun had ruled three consecutive ancient kingdoms, respectively. Besides the energy center of Mani Mountain in Ganghwa-do, many energy centers supplying the heavenly Jung-Ki have been installed and operated in several places on the Korean peninsula. Mani Mountain in Ganghwa-do had faithfully played the role of a stargate supplying the heavenly Jung-Ki for a very long time, until the end of the ancient kingdom ruled by the spiritual leaders titled Tan-gun on the Korean peninsula. After recorded history began on the Korean peninsula, the first change in the supply centers for the heavenly Jung-Ki occurred around the time when the three kingdoms of Korea were opened. It is the law of the universe that new types of culture and civilization suitable for a new age can unfold only when the energy of Jung-Ki supplied by the heaven is changed beforehand. The energy of Jung-Ki supplied by the heaven to the Korean peninsula was changed one more time for the development of cultures unique to the Goryeo period. The current form of the supply chain for the heavenly Jung-Ki on the Korean peninsula was established in the Joseon dynasty and has been operated ever since that time. The energy of Jung-Ki supplied from the heaven has been changed over time. The energy centers for the supply of the heavenly Jung-Ki have also been changed over time. It has been a long time since the supply of heavenly Jung-Ki through Mani Mountain in Ganghwa-do was discontinued because the energy center over there was closed after fulfilling its role. A new age needs new energy centers. On October 3rd in 2021, the age of Hucheon was opened by the heaven that has come down to the earth. On October 3rd in 2021, the heaven of Hucheon was opened by the source consciousness of the Creator who has come down to the earth. The energy supply chain for the heavenly Jung-Ki, composed of the energy stargates that will supply Cheon-Ki, Ji-Ki, and In-Ki, have been newly installed from the January of 2021, and they will play an important role in opening the age of Hucheon. More importantly, this new energy supply chain for the heavenly Jung-Ki has been reorganized centering on Cheongju, which is the capital city of North Chungcheong Province on the Korean Peninsula. I, Captain Udeka, deliver the good news of the grand universe. October 15th in 2021, Udeka wrote.